Welcome to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
Thank you.
According to the description of the video, that was a drone trying to deliver a freaking car battery from an auto parts store, and it dropped it on this lady's car. I can't believe they're allowing them to transport stuff that dangerous with a drone. That's ridiculous. All this talk that we hear about how all these regulations and rules and things are put in place for our safety, then they turn around and allow a company to transport car batteries over our heads with a drone? Come on. Even if that thing doesn't land on someone's head and kill them instantly, if it were to fall upside down and land on a piece of metal or something, it could explode and spray acid everywhere. This is extremely stupid, and whoever is in charge of deciding what can and cannot be transported via drone needs to lose their job.
Well, you know, it's interesting too, just not to go too far off on a rabbit trail or a cat trail. There was a really interesting video I saw a while back, and it was talking about the cat's eyes. Basically, domesticated cats. They're very similar features to big cats. You see how they walk, and we got a cat, you see how it moves. You can imagine if it was, 100 times bigger, it would look like a tiger. But what's really interesting is that the big cats do not have the same kind of pupils as the little cats. The little cats have the slit pupils like reptiles.
It's very fascinating.
It's really weird. Is there any other animal that has eyes like that, like a mammal that has eyes like that?
Dude, even geckos have slit pupils, some of them, and I think they look kind of creepy. So lizards don't even have slit pupils, I think. Some lizards, most of them, I don't think they do. But yeah, no, I can't think of. They're just reptiles and cats.
It's so
like,
weird. Yeah,
all I can think of.
And then so you have the ancient Egyptians gave some reverence to the cats. They were some kind of guardians of the underworld. If you ever seen the movie The Mummy, when the mummy is regaining his human form, the cat keeps scaring him off. It's really weird. It's almost like, do they have more of a perception of the veil? They can see through the veil with those kind of eyes. It's interesting to think about.
I think this one's interesting, and I know that we've talked about this at some point on the channel before, but what I found out while digging into this is that apparently, according to scientists, large cats like lions and tigers do have slit pupils. They just appear more rounded when they're dilated and become slit-like when they're contracted. That kind of blows a hole in this having any major significance. Also, science has determined, whether you choose to believe them or not, that this is just a feature found in animals who need better nighttime vision for hunting. However, I looked and I looked and I looked, and I couldn't find a single photo of a large cat with slit pupils. Hey, don't forget to click like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my merch store at barry-stepp.com.
Not that I needed proof it existed, but the location of the Ark of the Covenant has officially been found. This is where the 2 tablets of the 10 Commandments are being kept, but something about this just feels off to me, and this is why. The CIA confirmed the location and existence of this through remote viewing. Now they're saying that this is being safeguarded by entities of unknown power, and this is a declassified CIA document. Now, personally, when I hear remote viewing, I proceed with caution. If you don't know what this is people who claim to see and describe things without personally seeing it. They use extrasensory perception. It's basically sidekicks who can describe what's happening in another part of the world without physically seeing it. What's interesting about this is the CIA and military actually funded a top secret program called Project Stargate, gathering sidekicks to use remote viewing for military strategies, and some people in the past were weirdly accurate, but eventually the program got shut down. In my opinion, it's just hard to believe. But in 1988, the viewer was tasked with the Ark of the Covenant, and this is how he described it. The target is protected by entities and can only be opened by those who are authorized to do so. This container will and cannot be opened until the time is deemed correct. Once it is time to open the container, the mechanics of the lock system will be found to be fairly simple. They said this before adding a warning to potential plunderers. Individuals opening the container by prying or striking are destroyed by the container's protectors through the use of a power unknown to us. That's wild. They said the purpose of the target is to bring people together. It has something to do with ceremony, memory, homage, the resurrection. There's an aspect of spirituality, information, lessons, and historical knowledge far beyond what we know now.
I kind of have mixed feelings about this. Part of me feels like this sounds somewhat believable. And the fact that the government was looking for a well-known Christian relic when we know they're actively trying to discredit Christianity at every turn is pretty eye-opening. However, the fact that they supposedly shut this program down tells me that they didn't see a lot of value in it. So that makes me feel a little less sure that this is legitimate. That being said, though, I think it's pretty obvious to anyone who's done any sort of digging on the federal government that just because they claim to have shuttered a program, that does not mean for certain that there aren't still aspects of that program being worked on in secret.
I saw a video today of this man at like a press conference kind of thing, and he was at one point like pretty high ranked, made it pretty high up in the Air Force, is some sort of like electrical engineer. And he was telling this story about 30 years ago. He was brought into this group for NASA. There was something going on with their lunar satellite. It like wasn't receiving. He said he walked into this room and there was scientists from all over the world trying to figure this out. And he's like, this is strange for NASA to have scientists from all over the world trying to figure this out. And then he was debriefed by this one guy, and he said the guy, when he was presenting this stuff, he was like kind of nervous, and he's like, these are pictures that we have from the dark side of the moon.
They have pictures?
There's a base camp on the dark side of the moon, and they were showing pictures of all these buildings. He said it's top secret. And so like he came out and was like, I've been waiting for them to talk about this news for 30 years and they haven't done it yet, and I hope by me saying this, they'll bring that out.
All right. I don't know for sure if this clip that I'm about to show you is for real or if it was made in someone's basement, but I tried to go digging and see if I could find the photos that this guy's talking about, because it looked like they were showing the photos in that clip. I thought the guy might have released them, but I never could find what I believed to be the photos that this guy's referencing. What I did find was this next video that supposedly is leaked footage showing lights on the dark side of the moon.
I came across this today. I thought it was pretty interesting. Supposed leak footage from NASA. The mission was SIN 25. I guess it shows lights or cities on the moon. Check it out.
That are taking place even at the present time. Understanding that early history of the moon may mean an understanding of the early history of the Earth. And I think we're well on our way to a first order understanding of that history as a result of the program. 17 Houston, you just passed 2,000 miles. 2,000 miles. Human beings don't very often have a chance to see. The trend's been started in the last few years, and I suspect it will continue. Roger, Jack. I think you can probably see a long chain of craters, which so far are visited by. You're now 1,500 miles above the surface, and your climb rate was just computed at 295,000 feet per minute. They're glad they cleared the traffic out of the way. Good picture. That's in the civilizations that become so interesting to man. The moon's frozen in a period of history 3 billion years and older.
So what do y'all think of that video? I see a couple of things wrong with it. A couple of things that just don't make any sense to me. Let's say for a second that there was some city up there producing these artificial lights. Why they would only be located on the dark side of the moon makes perfect sense. They are staying out of the sight of those of us who are looking up at them from the Earth. But why would the entire civilization of whatever it is that's living up there all be located in this one condensed area? Are they not reproducing and growing their population? Maybe this is some alien military base without women and children. Also, the structure of the lights didn't make much sense. It almost looked like lava flow or something. It just didn't look like any aerial photo of any city lights that I've ever seen. Though this could be a different lighting technology being used that I'm just simply not familiar with. I am having a hard time buying into this one though. What are y'all's thoughts on this?
You hear a really crazy conspiracy theory that nuclear bombs were not made for humans, but they were made for
aliens. I don't think so.
Well, what about Project Fishbowl? It was basically to test nuclear detonations in the atmosphere and underwater. They let off 29 atmospheric nuclear tests.
Oh my gosh.
In 1962. So shortly after the Roswell incident, they truly wanted to see what a nuclear bomb would do interacting with the atmosphere. And it's like, why?
So you're telling me we can't use hairspray, but they can shoot bombs off?
The test involved detonating nuclear devices at altitudes ranging from 20 to 250 miles above Earth's surface. But then they did 2 underwater as well. There's classified documents too, CIA documents, in all these stories about all these nuclear tests. There seems to always be something with UFOs around them, like an interaction with UFOs. And then those stories about the UFOs coming and disarming nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
But then there's some scenarios to where they actually arm them. So we got UFO sightings from the sky, the ocean, and that's what their targets were. So that's where the theory that nukes weren't made for people, but they were made to combat this UFO, UAP phenomenon.
Well, it's not a bad idea to create a weapon against all that spooky stuff, but that doesn't make sense to me.
You think about all the UFOs and UAPs around nuclear facilities too.
Yeah, but I just think that's because they're nosy.
Maybe.
I don't think this theory makes any sense. I think what makes much more sense is that we're creating nuclear weapons for the purpose of keeping other countries adequately threatened. I think the reason for the UFO activity around nuclear testing sites is just simply that we're sharing a planet with them and they don't want us to destroy everything. They appear to have been here as long as we have, whoever they are, and they likely just don't want us blowing up their stuff. Maybe some of those tests where it was reported that a UFO showed up and deactivated their nukes, maybe we're about to test these nuclear weapons too close to an alien military installation and we didn't know it because they're so well hidden. They keep doing these tests over water, and almost all of the evidence points to these supposed aliens living in the ocean. At least that's what makes sense to me. What do y'all think?
Look at this and tell me if you recognize anything there.
Yes, I do. It resembles a panel that I saw at the structure in Antarctica. That was a panel that had the star map on it.
And the star map, do you know?
From what they could estimate, it was not only our universe, but 3 universes combined in one large star map. The focal point was what our Hubble Space Telescope has photographed and recorded at that time. Then they correlated what the Hubble Space Telescope had taken photographs of that was not in our universe, but actually a different universe outside, further out than what we think our universe is.
I know that what you just said to me was that we were using the Hubble to photograph in another universe outside of this universe.
Yes, ma'am.
And then another universe.
Yes, ma'am. The way it was described to me, they were taking mathematical equations, formulas, from different points of our universe and pinpointing it to photographs or recordings that was made by our Hubble Space Telescope, which at that time was the best technological device that we had at that time.
Was this generated by extraterrestrial beings?
Yes, ma'am.
There is one major reason that I cannot believe this story. In order to give the guy speaking a sense of authority on the subject, to make his story more believable, they put the exact years that he was enlisted as a Navy SEAL, 1987 to 2004, and tell you that he was a retired commander. If this story is true, this is one of the dumbest attempts at hiding an identity that I have ever seen. How difficult would it be for the government to track this guy down and take him out if he really was revealing top secret information? Literally, all they would have to do is look for a retired Navy SEAL commander who was stationed in Antarctica and was enlisted between the years of 1987 and 2004. I highly doubt that they have more than one guy who's going to match that description. In an effort to make this story sound more believable, I feel like the stupidity of adding that information makes this more than likely a made-up interview designed to stir up conspiracy theorists.
Scientists made an earth-shattering discovery inside Egypt's legendary Great Pyramid of Giza. Using revolutionary new satellite technology known as synthetic aperture radar, Doppler tomography, developed by researchers Filippo Bionde and Corrado Malanga, the team uncovered astonishing hidden structures beneath one of humanity's greatest monuments. Inside the Great Pyramid itself, researchers discovered a massive, previously unknown chamber spanning 5 distinct horizontal levels. Intricately designed and deliberately concealed, this secret room has remained untouched for thousands of years, hidden within plain sight. But this discovery was just the beginning. Radar scans penetrating deep beneath the Pyramid of Khafra have revealed 8 perfectly symmetrical cylindrical wells descending an incredible 648 meters, over 2,100 feet, straight into solid bedrock. These enormous shafts are precisely engineered, arranged methodically in parallel rows, and extend downward into vast cubic formations nearly 2 kilometers beneath the surface. Each cylindrical shaft measures several meters in diameter, constructed with astonishing accuracy, far surpassing the abilities previously attributed to ancient Egyptian technology. The depth alone defies comprehension. At 648 meters, these wells plunge deeper than the height of the world's tallest skyscrapers, connecting to immense subterranean spaces whose purposes remain utterly mysterious. Even more astonishingly, beneath the entire Giza Plateau lies an expansive network of interconnected chambers, tunnels, and massive cubic structures buried deep underground, stretching for kilometers. The scale and complexity of these underground constructions surpass anything ever imagined by archaeologists or historians, challenging everything we thought we knew about ancient Egypt and its capabilities. Could these enormous wells and hidden chambers represent remnants of a lost civilization, one far more advanced than dynastic Egypt? Ancient Sumerian legends speak clearly of pre-flood civilizations like Atlantis or Mu, powerful beings known as the Anunnaki, the Titans, the Atlanteans, who imparted extraordinary knowledge and skills to humanity. Could these newly discovered subterranean structures beneath Giza be physical evidence of these very legends? And most importantly, who has been trying to keep this information suppressed? The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just Egypt's most iconic monument. It's a global enigma that defies comprehension. Built with staggering precision from over 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing several tons, its dimensions encode astonishing mathematical and cosmic truths. The pyramid's exact coordinates align perfectly with Earth's true north, deviating by only a fraction of a degree. Its proportions reflect precise measurements of the Earth's circumference. Even more astonishing, encoded in the pyramid's geometry, is the speed of light itself. The Great Pyramid sits at latitude 29.9792458 degrees north. The speed of light in a vacuum is exactly 299,792,458 meters per second. When measured in Royal Egyptian cubits, the unit of measurement the Egyptians famously used, the pyramid's base perimeter closely matches Earth's equatorial circumference. Ancient Egyptians utilized a unit called the sacred cubit, approximately 25 inches, and it's suggested by some researchers that multiplying the pyramid's perimeter by a factor related to these cubits produces numbers closely aligning with the speed of light, again hinting at intentional encoding of advanced scientific knowledge. The sheer precision required to achieve this, down to fractions of degrees, goes far beyond coincidence. Skeptics argue it's simply random chance, but proponents see it as direct evidence that the pyramid builders possessed either advanced astronomical knowledge, sophisticated mathematics, or possibly information granted by a civilization far more technologically advanced than history acknowledges. For decades, mainstream historians insisted these marvels were simply tombs, built with primitive tools, slave labor, and sheer brute force. But recent discoveries have shattered this simplistic narrative once and for all. With the groundbreaking discovery of a massive hidden chamber and 8 astonishing cylindrical wells beneath the Pyramid of Khafra, reaching depths of 648 meters into solid bedrock, the conventional story has officially collapsed. These shafts, perfectly symmetrical and meticulously engineered, plunge deeper than the tallest modern skyscrapers, connecting to sprawling subterranean structures extending nearly 2 kilometers beneath the plateau. No copper chisels, ropes, or wooden pulleys could account for such feats of advanced geological engineering. Simply put, the mainstream explanation doesn't just fall short, it now appears entirely impossible. With mainstream narratives collapsing and sensational discoveries mounting, one question remains: what comes next? Are we on the verge of confirming ancient legends, perhaps even establishing definitive links to lost civilizations, cosmic visitors, or advanced prehistoric knowledge? Whatever comes next, one thing is clear. The sands of Giza still guard incredible secrets, and humanity is finally ready to uncover them.
I think one of the most intriguing parts here is likely going to be the part that's the easiest to explore and get an answer on. That intentionally sealed off room they think they've discovered. If they could just bore a hole large enough to send a camera with a light on it through that thing, we may actually get a look at an artifact that is original to the Pyramid of Giza. And if it was a room that was intentionally sealed off, it likely housed something that they thought was important enough it needed to be left alone and undisturbed indefinitely. It may actually house ancient technology that was pivotal to the function of whatever the pyramid was designed to do. If those tunnels are really down there, they may just be tunnels and that's it. We've seen those all over Egypt. And of course, I'm infinitely curious about what's underneath there. But that room that's been closed off to looters since its construction, I just think that's the most interesting thing to look into first. And if they really wanted to know what was in there, they could probably have an answer as early as next week. But what I think is likely to happen is that these radar scans never get looked into any further. That video was absolutely correct in the sense that all these new discoveries are completely destroying the mainstream narrative. And not only on how these ancient structures were created, but the narrative as well about how advanced our ancient ancestors really were. I just don't see how they keep teaching the bronze tool nonsense after all this. There's going to be so much pushback on getting to the bottom of this that we're likely never going to get our answers. There are just too many men with reputations at stake who don't actually care about the truth of our history, but about their academic standing. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back soon with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my merch store at Barry-Stepp.com. And don't forget to drop a photo of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo in a video. I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one.